timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
He's in! Patriots win the Super Bowl! Brady has his fifth! 13! 13! Can you believe it?
Hey guys, welcome back to the Locker Room Podcast. I am your host, Oliver, as always joined by our mystery man, Sharpy.
Hello.
You've just named we've got our mascot now for the podcast, little Ockers. Sharpy came up with the name. I think last time someone said Hooters, but...
I mean, you could still make that into a tits joke, but...
well, obviously. Yeah, but I think Ockers is better. So we've got little Ockers there. We're going to get into the NBA. We'll go East and West, but I just want to touch on one thing first. The Champions League this morning, obviously Man City, Real Madrid 1-1. I didn't watch the full game, but have you seen... First of all, De Bruyne's goal is unreal. But did you see that it was out of bounds in the build-up and VAR didn't look at it?
I did say that, yeah.
Is like, what do you think of that in general? Like, because I think they should just be looking at, like, if it's in the play, they rewatch the play behind the game. And if they decide, like, a minute later, they stop play and they make the change and just go for a goal kick or a throw-in. What do you think about that situation, though? Because I think that's a big deal in the semi-final of a Champions League match.
Yeah, they need to be checking VAR for everything, like for every different scenario. I don't know why they don't. It sort of just defeats the whole purpose of it.
Yeah. Are you a fan of it or not? Like,
I'm for it. Yeah, so many goals have been. Like, I look back at the 2010 World Cup with the Lampard goal against Germany.
Oh yeah.
And I see that's where it all.
Yeah.
Like how they got screwed over. You can even go to Ireland versus France with Henry, or Robben versus Mexico. So
yeah, and the flop. Oh, that was so bad. But like that's the thing. Like, I feel like a lot of the people that you see online that hate it, like, I understand where they're coming from. It takes, like, the celebration out of the game. You're always hesitant now when a goal gets scored. What you're thinking, oh, is it going to be offside? Is it going to be overturned? Blah, blah, blah. But I think it's better because, like what you said, you need confirmation of these things. Like, Ireland didn't make the World Cup because of that. It would have been, like, the first time in however long if Henry didn't bloody handball it. And then there's Robben flopping like a little fish. And
was it him? I can't remember. I think it was either him or...
It was definitely
there was
Robben.
a Huntelaar situation as well.
I remember the Robben one so well. I just remember him dribbling, like, down the line and then cutting back up. And as soon as he cut up, he just dived. And it was so depressing to watch because I really wanted Mexico to win. But they got their karma back. They lost in the final anyway. So, but I agree. I think we need VAR, and you just need to use it right. Like, fuck me dead. You can't miss stuff like that. Something so big.
I mean, you can't be using it as much as what was the goal review thing for Collingwood and Sydney on the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
5 times it got used.
I've heard that. I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it.
That was absolutely ridiculous.
But, like, I just don't understand. It should be a quick, like, how long would it have taken to get that photo image that we've all got? I don't know if you'll be able to see it when I hold it up. But, like, how long would it have taken to get that image where the ball has the post or the line out of bounds line on it, and you can just... I don't understand it. Yeah. But that's our opinions. We're not going to... I don't know why it keeps going in and out of focus, but we can't change anything. So we'll go back to our expertise because the second Champions League match is tomorrow. Who do you want winning that? Milan Derby. It's going to be fucking huge.
I like Inter to win.
Hey, I like AC. AC was like my team before Liverpool, only because I liked Pirlo and Giuliodino. I think Inter will probably win though. I don't know how AC.
The only thing is, like, they're both teams have got big players out. Milan got Leao out, and Inter's got Skriniar out. So
You're all about Chalanoglu, aren't you? That's the reason why you
No, my best friend Leo, he loves him.
Well, he's probably gonna get bloody butchered on he's gonna get targeted, won't he? Because he obviously left AC to join Inter.
Yeah, but I mean that was a while ago though.
Mm.
But um, I mean if they still target him, sure, why not?
Yeah,
But
it's good for
you got maybe potential future Liverpool midfielder Nico Barella playing as well. So
I do like. I've only seen a cut. I think I've seen 2 games of him play, but I mean, I'd still like McAllister at Liverpool.
yeah,
Even Mason Mount. Whatever happens in that situation with Chelsea, but
hmm
I mean, one day we'll get Sam Allen back on and we'll talk about all this stuff. But obviously, he has some stupid requirements to get back on the podcast. So
I haven't heard about that.
I'm sure
Does he
you.
want paid? Because we make no money off
No,
it.
it's not pay. It's all MLS 11 team or some shit like that.
Yeah, let's do that.
We'll figure out one time when to do it. We'll move on to the NBA though. We'll start with the Western Conference playoffs first, and we'll start with the game the series that was played today. Nuggets versus Suns. Now, after the first 2 games, a lot of people thought the Nuggets are going to win in 5, maybe 6, or some probably thought a sweep. But then obviously Phoenix go home. Monty Williams figures out that he's got a bench to play, starts playing them, and they win 2 games at home with Booker playing, unreal basketball. And then they go back to Denver today and they lose. So it's 3-2 to Denver right now. Where do you stand with this series? And has anything, I guess, surprised you? I mean, Jokic had 53 points the other day and they lost. But yeah, does anything surprise you in this series?
Well, DeAndre Ayton hasn't surprised me. He's fucking still very soft. Jock Landale's come out and beasted it. And I love it. That's all. He's playing his role well. And like a lot of the Phoenix fans are loving the way he played on Saturday.
Yeah.
Friday, American time. But Monty Williams playing the bench players a lot more is also good. I've loved who else played really well for them? Campaign. Campaign and Landry Shamet both played well.
Yeah.
I feel like I went into game 5 today thinking that Phoenix was going to win this one. But Jokic, who broke the record for the most triple doubles in the playoffs by a center. So
yeah,
that's cool. It's another bit of history for Jokic. But I think just Booker just didn't shoot well today. I just don't think he was on today. But I mean, everyone has a bad game now and then.
Well, the Nuggets have like the second best home record in the league for the entire season. That altitude has to play some sort of role though. Like it would have to play a pretty decent role, and then obviously your role players play different compared to on the road when they do at home. But I like Murray didn't play that great. Porter Jr. started off well, but didn't finish very well. Like I would be very surprised if the Nuggets lose this next game. And obviously there's rumors Chris Paul could come back for game 6. And now I'm not in any way saying that they're better, the Suns are better without Chris Paul. No way I'm saying that, but they're playing different basketball without Chris Paul. Like with Chris Paul as their main guard, they're playing a slower brand of basketball. Whereas without him, with Campaign, you see them rushing it up the floor, playing fast.
The pace is a lot better,
and that's obviously it's not going to it's going to benefit the Suns because the Nuggets don't want to do that play that style of basketball. But if they're playing rushed and they're making them rush into sets and everything and defensive sets, you just look at what they've done in the last 2 games prior to today. It's been highly beneficial. And like you said, I've found it unreal watching Landale. I saw the other day he played like 25 minutes and had better stats than Ayton. And it's like he's obviously undersized against Jokic. and yes, he was a part of the game that got dropped 50 on, but like he does his role. His role's not to score.
He was
it's not
he
to,
was just being a pest to Jokic. That's it.
yeah, yeah,
And he was
exactly right.
always the first one down the court on transition as well, getting in position.
And like he got steals, and and then you'd see Jokic have to sprint down the other way, and he doesn't look comfortable, and he doesn't look like he's enjoying it. And I mean, why would you? But yeah, he's making him work. Whereas Ayton, there was even today a video where he's not running down the court on the offensive end because he got bumped in a screen or something, and he's just holding his chest. And then Booker's gone off at him during a timeout, and then Ayton left the huddle in the timeout, and it's like he won't be there next year. He can't be there next year.
I think he probably will be actually. I think no way that like Phoenix have committed a lot of money towards him. So either he needs to find himself next season or he's going to just be lost again.
If you can find, let's do a hypothetical. If you can find a good center, not a star center, but a good center and a couple of good role players, would you do that trade for Ayton? Because obviously he's on, I think he got the max, didn't he? Yeah, he got
141 million, I think it was.
Yeah, just shy of the max or whatever. But would you do that trade? Like, let's say, now I know this isn't going to happen, but let's say hypothetically a Steven Adams or a Jonas Valanciunas and one or two role players for DeAndre Ayton. Would you do that?
I mean, I'd even try and get Nurkic or something, even though he can't play much defense.
Yeah.
But I feel like Nurkic would be a lot cheaper because I think Portland are probably going to blow up.
Yeah. And he's a big body that you need.
Yeah, but he thing is, though, he's pretty soft as well.
Yeah, that's
but he gets boards and stuff, so.
Yeah.
I'd even go for someone like Miles Turner. I reckon he'd be pretty cheap also.
Yeah, he would be
Indiana.
Very good.
Indiana's not really a big market team, but they're a good rebuilding team. And if they can get someone like Ayton and to build around Halliburton,
yeah,
I think you're in a good situation there.
I think, I completely forgot about that. What about now?
Well, that's who he was going to go to in the beginning. He was going to go to Indiana. And then Phoenix matched his contract.
I've got a thing about this coming up later, but what do you think it would take for them to get Brook Lopez for DeAndre Ayton?
Not much.
Who do you reckon would have to put more in? Would it be the Bucks or would it be the Suns?
I reckon you could probably just chuck in maybe like, I don't know. I don't know what TJ Warren's situation is, but it depends on what Milwaukee want. Milwaukee probably want shooters and defenders. You probably could chuck in someone like Torrey Craig.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be, he's a great defender and he's a good wing defender. And with Middleton potentially going to the Mavs with Ayton as well. So
yeah. I think that's just an interesting one because I think that I would nearly think that the Suns would have to give up a bit more than just Ayton if they wanted someone like Brook Lopez, but he would be perfect, someone that could stretch the floor on the offense, but is a defensive
and block
anchor.
shots.
Yeah. So but in saying that, who do you think win? Do you think this game goes 7 series, and if so, who wins?
I think the Nuggets might take the next game. I reckon.
I think they do too. And do you think there'll be any rumors about any other star players other than Ayton, or do you think it'll just be around Ayton this offseason for the Suns?
I reckon it'll just be around Ayton.
Yeah,
because I mean, you got bitched on in the finals against Giannis.
Yeah,
and you're getting torched by. You're getting outplayed by Jock Landale.
I tell you what though, like as good as a coach as Monty Williams is, he does some bad like matchups. Like obviously he put Ayton on Giannis 1-on-1 in the finals, and it just didn't work. And then he was doing it with 1-on-1 with Jokic, which just doesn't work. It's hard with Jokic because
they're different beasts. So those two,
Jokic can pass out and like make his team a lot better, and he can still shoot the 3 ball. Whereas Giannis does his damage inside 12 feet. So it's a little bit easier to double Giannis, but obviously they're both incredibly hard to play against. But I think Monty Williams he's a bit to blame for what's happened, even with the bench situation. But I mean, I'm not going to say he's a bad coach, but Yeah, I just think that's very interesting. But I think that's why Brook Lopez would be a great fit for him because the Suns are win now. Like you got KD who's getting pretty old, you got Chris Paul who is already old, and you got Devin Booker who's obviously young. But like their championship window right now is 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
if KD, I have a hope in my heart that KD will sign with OKC before it's all said and done. I said to my brother, I'm like, how good would it be if KD lets his contract run out and then joins OKC on like
Does a LeBron situation.
just on a massive like pay cut, just like ridiculous amount, and then Westbrook comes back and they come off the bench. Like imagine that. Like I'm imagining it now. Why wouldn't he do it? He's already got shit tons of money, so he may as well do it.
Yeah, I know, but you're going to be playing like KD wants to win rings.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
He would win a ring though if he went and played on the bench for the Thunder in 2 years.
It just depends on how well they've grown since
Well,
then.
yes, yeah, obviously. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, but yes, if Chet it becomes what we think Chet can be, SGA continues, Giddy and J-Dub continue or stay around the same level, we keep Dort. You chuck Durant in there. I honestly think that's a possible future contender, but obviously it's too many variables to make up. But that's just my hypothesis. I hope KD will return to OKC, but I don't know if he's still angry at the fans or angry at whoever. Can't be angry at Sam Presti. Wouldn't be angry at Sam Presti. But yes, I think Nuggets win a next game as well. So we'll move on to the other series that's in the West and that I goddamn hate. Lakers are taking a 3-1 lead against the Warriors. Now, I really hate the possibilities that could come out of this. If like Philly and the Lakers make the finals, I will not watch. But in saying that, so game 5 was it? Yeah, game 5. No, game 4. Fuck me, I've lost it. Game 4, Draymond Green basically sold like 2 or 3 plays in the last quarter. Curry didn't play very well towards the end. I was joking around saying that Draymond loves LeBron so much that he's just giving him the ball and giving him the game in the series for his legacy. But I think what you're saying now is like what you said previously about how is this Lakers team role players better than the championship team. I think if your argument keeps just getting stronger, like I'm going to be stubborn and stick in my way, but like I can definitely see why someone would say that now. Like I thought it was an interesting and hot take at the start when you said that, but now that the way they're playing, like D'Lo, Vanderbilt, obviously defensively, and Rui and stuff like that, and Austin.
And now Lonnie Walker last game as well.
He does that once every like year, I reckon. He just goes off for like 10, 15 in the last quarter and wins a game.
Yeah.
But like
you can't forget Austin Reeves as well.
Yeah. I got 2 questions. We'll go with this first. The Warriors lose this series. Do you think it's the end of their dynasty? Do you think Draymond, one of those big 3 leaves, or do you think they'll compete next year still?
I think they'll compete next year, but I think that's when they'll be doing a lot of thinking about what's going to happen if they lose again. I think next they've got 1 more year to try and figure out what they need to do.
Yeah.
Whether it's bring in another big player.
Yeah.
And like trade Kuminga, Moody, and all that. I actually can see them trading him this offseason as well.
I don't know
because a lot happens after they get knocked out. So
I think if they developed Moody, like that's why I found it interesting. Like if Giddy went to the Warriors, Giddy wouldn't be half the player he is today, I don't reckon. And that's just because the base he doesn't get
even
the
LaMelo.
minutes. Yeah, like he wouldn't get the minutes. He wouldn't get the ability to mess up and play shit and still get the 25, 30 minutes the next game. Whereas like Kuminga, I I'm not. I mean, I'm not very high on Kuminga anyway. But like, if he plays 10 minutes, puts up some bad stuff, he'll get pulled, and then he
Yeah,
probably
and
won't
that's
get
not
put
good
back
for
in the
his
game.
development either. He needs to
Yeah.
be on a bigger role. Like even he can go to the Bucks or something like that'd be solid.
Yeah.
Solid wing defender, stretch the floor. So I'd like that to happen.
It's like Wiseman. Like that never
Yeah.
worked out because he didn't get given a proper opportunity. If he got given a proper opportunity, who says he couldn't be like Looney or even
Mm.
better? Like it, and that's always I feel like what happens when a team like it doesn't happen often, but a team that shouldn't be in the lottery, whether they've done it by trade or what the Warriors had, they all had their injuries in one season. If they get a top pick, that top pick isn't going to be nearly as good as he was if he went to a team that actually needed him.
Yeah, well, him and Moody, Kuminga and Moody were both lottery picks. So
Yeah,
like no one's really seen much of Moody anyway, and that's sad.
and I see. I'm actually high on Moody. I think that he'd be a really good player if he actually got the time. Like if he went to a shit team and became a starter, let's say Orlando or something, just became a starter. Like I think he'd be a very good player after a year or two, but he
Mm.
doesn't get the opportunity. Like at this stage, I'd be playing him over Jordan Poole with just
Yeah,
how bad Jordan Poole's
Jordan
playing.
Poole is not. He's regressed a lot in these play, and he could come out the next game and drop
Yeah,
35 or something and have a good
probably.
game. But and and I'd look like an idiot, but I don't really care. So
who would you trade in the off season out of like it's changing up a bit, but Draymond or Jordan Poole? I think we discussed this maybe last week or the week
I'd
before,
probably
but
get rid of Jordan Poole more.
I think you'd get more value for Jordan Poole as
I
well.
feel like if you can just get him to Houston or something.
Yeah. Houston are going to be so bad next year. I don't care that they got Ime Udoka. I think we're not up to the East yet. That's the big fella. But yeah, no, I don't think the Houston Rockets are going to, and I kind of hope they don't because we got their pick this year or this upcoming year. Which I think is still going to
I
be.
thought they were all unprotected.
I think it is unprotected. Oh no, it's protected top 3. I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
Or
well,
top 3
I reckon they'll
protected.
finish out the top 3.
I think they will too, but I think they're going to
With
finish.
Udoka, with Udoka coaching and that, he's not a bottom 3 team. So
I think they finish top 6 though. Like I still
Yeah.
think we get a top 6 pick. Like then, yeah, I can only see Pistons. Obviously it comes down to who gets Wembanyama and stuff as well. Whether the Spurs,
I think it'll be Pistons, Spurs, and Trailblazers.
yeah, and obviously it could all change with Wemby, but we'll do predictions like that when the draft comes and Sharpy's no longer here. That's all right. I'll call you up at whatever time it is in England or Scotland.
I'll actually, if you organize it on that day, I can try and make it. I'll be on my phone, but I can try and make it.
See the dedication to the podcast. You got to love it. But yeah, back to our point. Like I think Moody and Kuminga trade them as like one piece. Who did they get for Wiseman?
They got Sadiq Bey, but then they traded him to Atlanta.
But like,
can't remember who and then they got Gary Payton from that trade as well.
I mean, they could use Sadiq Bey to be honest, but
so they traded him for Sadiq. They traded him for Gary Payton.
I think like they did D'Lo for Wiggins, which obviously looks unreal now. But like, I think if they traded them two for another, not a star or an all-star, but like a good bench player, then like maybe Bobby Portis, even a 6-man of the year candidate. I'd just spitballing here, but I
feel like Bobby Portis needs to stay at Milwaukee though.
Yeah, I think he does too. But yeah, I think it's the end of their dynasty. Like I think they're going to compete next year, but I see there's a possibility that we see Draymond playing with LeBron next year. I really fucking hope not. But I see him either leaving or I just feel like he's going to leave. If Jordan Poole doesn't leave or get traded. But in saying that, do the Lakers win in 5?
Yeah, I reckon they will. I reckon the Warriors are kind of giving up. So
I think the Warriors won't lose at home, so I think won't lose the next home game. So I think it'll be Lakers in 6, as much as I hate to say it. But
Yeah, the Warriors won't go out without a fight. So
yeah. All right, let's get on to overrated, underrated. Now the last one's got a bit of a twist to it, but we'll get to it. So overrated,
we're going to
underrated.
do East after.
Yeah, we'll do East after. I should have probably mentioned that first, but overrated, underrated. We talked about him just before. Brook Lopez.
Underrated.
I
think
agree.
just because of this season.
Mm.
I mean, he's shot blocking ability. He went under the radar massively, I reckon.
Yeah.
For all the centers.
Mm. I think.
I mean, everyone was focusing on like Jaren Jackson,
Claxton.
Jokic and all that stuff. So I think very underrated.
I think the way that he changed his game, obviously when he was at Brooklyn and stuff like that, he was mainly just seen as a post scoring big, good offensive, like good around the post, okay defensively, but now he's an elite defender and he's a great 3-point shooter and he still can finish in the post. I honestly think that now this might be a hot take, but I think he is, I can't remember who I said it about the other week, but I think he's the perfect third piece for a championship team. Like, let's say you got the Suns, you got Booker, Durant, and then Brook Lopez being your third piece. Or I'm trying to think of another team. Imagine him on the Celtics. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown.
I mean, you've already got a player like that anyway, Al Horford.
Yeah.
But yeah, I reckon Brook Lopez will probably do more to Embiid.
Yeah.
Even though they're not even having those two together anyway. But
yeah. I think it'd be a perfect third option. I think that he's been underrated for the last 2-3 years now, ever since he's become so good at one, stretching the floor, but obviously playing defense as well. And everyone talked about the big three in Milwaukee when they won the championship, and it was Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton. But like, they did have Brook Lopez still.
And they had
Bobby.
That's where their role players stepped up. So
yeah, Grayson Allen. That team was exciting to watch.
with Bobby and Pat.
That was a good team to watch. The way they attacked the offensive glass,
and Jeff Teague as well.
I'm interested to see what you think about this next one, Paul George.
I don't know. He's not overrated. I know that, but I can't say he's underrated though because he's a good player.
He's just always injured.
Yeah, like it's just unfortunate with the injury. I mean, who knows? Like, because I don't know, like, what would have happened if he wasn't injured with the Clippers and everything.
Yeah, I think they would have won a chip by now. To be honest,
you would have thought they would have won a chip by now.
Both healthy, I think they've won. They've got a chip right now.
I mean, the amount of shit they gave up for him.
Oh yeah.
Who knows what SGA and Kawhi what they could have been like together?
Jesus, that would have been bad. That would have been filthy. But then they wouldn't have Dagnall coaching SGA, and SGA wouldn't be the player he is today. But no, I think just the sole purpose, because I feel like obviously he got slandered when they went in the bubble and he shot the three off the side of the backboard, and then playoff P became a thing. Became a bit of a meme. I'm gonna go with underrated just because I feel like he's been a bit he hasn't been targeted as much lately, but like for that a year and a half there, he was copping a lot of flack after the bubble and everything. And like that bubble team still made it to the Western Conference Finals? Yeah, they
No, it was Lakers and Nuggets.
Oh yeah, sorry, they made it. They choked a 3-1 lead in the semis. That's right.
Yeah.
And then the year after that, without Kawhi Leonard, they went to the Western Conference Finals and lost to Phoenix.
Is this last year?
Oh, mate, no, it was 2 years ago. Because the COVID season was 3 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so they would have lost to the Suns. Okay, so yeah, we're both going. I'm going underrated. You're going slightly undecided. Last one. Now I was going to do this as just overrated, underrated, but I thought I'd combine it to say who who I guess is more overrated, but who should be less deserving of the contract that they got because they both got huge contracts. DeAndre Ayton or Michael Porter Jr.
Ayton overrated.
Yeah.
I reckon Ayton overrated in the postseason,
Mm-hmm.
like from what we've seen.
Yeah.
So,
What do
but
you think
Michael Porter
about Porter
Jr. I don't.
Jr.?
I'm not. The jury's still out on Michael
Yeah.
Porter Jr. I don't know. I'm a bit back and forth with him. I don't know if he's overrated or he's underrated. But
He's got a
yeah,
smooth
he's not
jump
the same
shot.
player that I wanted to see, and he's not the same player everyone wanted to see
Yeah.
coming out of high school into college because obviously his injury. So
Yeah, back injury isn't easy to recover
especially
from,
for a tall
sadly.
person as well.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Ben Simmons. That's taken 4 years off his career.
Yeah. And like Ben Simmons, it can really derail your career.
Mm.
But like he's still shooting something like 40% from the three, which is I found when I heard that I couldn't believe it. But like he's
He's
just
turning. He's turning into a solid role player.
yeah. But that's the thing. He's a solid role player on a max contract.
Yeah.
Like I
Well, I mean,
know
he's a
they
solid
took a
role player
risk
with a
on him,
lot of
but
up. He's got a lot of
yeah,
upsides though. I mean, you see that poster on KD the other day?
yeah,
Jeez,
yeah.
that was beautiful.
So you're saying if you were to take one of their contracts, you'd take Porter Jr. over Ayton?
Yeah.
I think both of them have got a little bit of a competitive issue as well. Because like I feel like there's time obviously that we've seen Ayton like just fall asleep basically and not give a shit during a play. But I also think there's been times where Porter Jr. does similar where he doesn't look like he's trying on defense and stuff. Obviously, coaches can fix that over the long term or something, but I think it's just interesting. I agree though. I would take Porter Jr. Obviously, it probably depends what team you've got as well, but I would take Porter Jr.
I mean, you can say Aiton's got a lot of upside as well, but I mean, it's not like it's not looking like
Yeah,
it's coming out. So
he's not great defensively. He's okay defensively. He's not great. He can only finish around the ring. He's got an okay mid range at best, and can't obviously shoot the three. But yeah, maybe he can become Brook Lopez. Doubtful.
centers can take a lot longer to
Yeah,
mold, but
yeah,
you can mold those. You can mold centers a lot easier now than you can like a point guard because they're point guards. I feel like they only have like a 5 year
yeah,
lifespan in the NBA and to decide whether they can make it or not.
yeah. The thing is, though, does DeAndre Ayton want to be molded? Like, he's got to want to work on all these different things and put in the effort to do all this other stuff. But whether he actually does it or not is another question. And
I feel like he just needs to get his confidence up. That's about
yeah,
it. And if he can just finish above the rim and just shoot, I mean, look at Mitchell Robinson. He can't shoot fucking 3 free throws for shit, and
yeah.
maybe if he can turn into something like that, but with a jump shot, I mean, I think that's a perfect player right there.
What do you reckon would be best for him for his next move? Do you reckon it would be go to a team that's not necessarily a top 4, top 3 team contending, but like a good playoff team? Or do you think it would be better for him to go to, say, a lower team outside the playoffs and get 30,
Rebuild
35
himself.
minutes? Yeah. And just basically be not the main piece, but one of the main pieces. Blurry.
I feel like he should stay in Phoenix, just in a winning environment, and
Yeah.
just to. I mean, when you're in a winning environment, you're gonna get better mentors around you.
And he's been in both, hasn't he? I can't remember exactly when he got drafted, but they would have had at least 2 or 3 losing years before.
I think they might have just had one because I feel like the next year that's when they got Chris Paul.
I think
He
they
was
had
drafted
2
in
years without
2018.
Chris Paul. They
He was
got
drafted in
Chris,
2018. He was in
and
the
Chris
Luka
Paul
draft.
played in the bubble for OKC, so it would have been after the second season, technically the second season, but the second season was COVID, so make of that what you will. But yeah, they went 8-0 in the bubble, but they didn't make the playoffs. I remember that now. Well, we'll take a quick break and then we'll come back with the Eastern Conference teams and here's Sharpy's thoughts on the Knicks. And we're back. We're going to finish on the Knicks Heat series. So we'll go to the one that happened today between the Celtics and the Sixers. And I am utterly disappointed. I am so annoyed at the Celtics. And because the last thing I want to see is Sixers versus Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. And if the Nuggets don't make it out of I know that they got the lead now, but if they don't make it out of that series, I obviously won't stop watching basketball or won't stop watching the playoffs. But like, I have no team to root for then if that happens. Like, fuck me dead, Boston. What are you doing? Like, Jason Tatum, I feel like it comes back. I was speaking to a mate at work about this today. It's like, when Jason Tatum's on, he's on. And when he's off, he plays fucking horrible. Whereas Jaylen Brown usually is reasonably consistent the whole time. He won't have a 9-point game or a 7-point game or whatever Tatum had the other day. But obviously he doesn't take as many shots when he should. But I just don't know what to say about this series. I'll let you go on about it because I'm annoyed to say the least. What are your thoughts on this series in general? Obviously, Philly taking a 3-2 lead today.
Well, he didn't play as many minutes as I thought, but Grant Williams, just what the fuck is he and what the fuck is his role? I mean, they need to stop chucking Smart and Derek or like Grant Williams on Embiid because it's not doing anything.
Yeah.
All you're doing is making him get more free throws.
Which we
and all they're doing is fouling him a lot more.
Yeah.
I know he's the MVP and shit, but I mean, I feel like if you chuck Horford on him, you're gonna have a better matchup and stuff.
Well, he got 5 blocks the other day. Horford.
Who's that? Yeah,
I
exactly. But I mean, they would have been on.
Yeah.
I don't. Hang on, I couldn't see.
He got two. He got 2 on Embiid in the fourth quarter in like clutch time, but I don't think the others were on Embiid. But like, I think that proves your point that why aren't you playing Horford more on Embiid because is it nearly time to give up on Robert Williams? I mean, I like Robert Williams, but he's always injured and.
I feel like they should be playing him a lot more though.
Yeah.
They can go tall against Philly. I reckon they would succeed going tall.
Yeah, put Mike Muscala in there.
Because you put Horford on PJ Tucker or something, and that's barbecue chicken.
I get what
also, can we just like stop leaving him open in the corner?
Like I get what PJ Tucker
game 3 on Saturday. God, like they just kept leaving PJ Tucker open for 3.
I get what his role is, but I just can't stand him. He does his role, and I know he does it well, but like, fuck me dead. The amount of graphics that you see where he's like, plays 25 minutes, doesn't attempt a field goal, and grabs 1 rebound. It's like fucking what? It's like Tony Snell.
Maxey showed out today, though.
He did.
Give Maxey credit.
And I said to my mate at work that this same guy, he's a Philly fan. I said, if Tobias Harris plays half decent, then use win most games where he plays half decent. Like he just needs to play what he's capable of, not to the star level that he was playing at when he was at the Clippers. If he can just play to his good role playing ability, then they win. They would nearly be favorites in a series like this. Obviously, they're favorites now, but like today, he had 16 and 11. That's a pretty good game for him on 70% shooting in only 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Like if their role players do it more often, like they can make up for Harden not playing so well with only 17 points. Obviously Maxey had 30 though, but I'm more frustrated at the Celtics more than anything. Like Horford didn't score, obviously. Tatum showed up in the second half, but like I don't see them winning in Philly. I don't see them winning the next 2 games, and that's going to piss me off even more. The only positive I can think about is how good would a Joel Embiid versus Nikola Jokic final series be?
That'd be box office right there.
That would be the
That's
best.
just cinema right there.
Yeah, that'd be the best. Some people would probably say, "Oh, I'd rather see Embiid versus AD, a defensive," and it's like, well, no, I'd much rather see Jokic versus Embiid. It's two centers in their prime, both MVPs.
That's how you settle the
Yeah,
debate right there, I reckon.
yeah,
The Jokic and Embiid debate.
and they've both got similar teams around them. They've got one player that, obviously Harden's probably known for being a lot better than Murray, but Murray's coming up as well. So you got two players like that are your good options, and then you got third and fourth options where, say
Maxi and then Porter Jr.
Yeah, Maxi and Porter Jr. that can light it up or they can go missing. And then you got Tobias Harris and Aaron Gordon. It's like their teams are so similar.
And then off the bench, you got Bruce Brown and Niang. So
yeah, it'd be such a good matchup. And I'd be rooting so hard for the Nuggets. But that's the only thing positive I can get out of this, because I'm just so disappointed in the Celtics. I know I cut you off before. What were you saying? I can't remember, to get you back on track with what you were saying, if you want to continue.
I can't even remember. Eh?
I can't
What's
actually. Who the fuck was it? It did. What's his name even play? The one, Paul
Maxey.
Reed. He only got 6 minutes.
Oh, Paul Reed, yeah.
But yeah,
well, he was going to play a lot more minutes if Embiid came back. So,
but like, Marcus Smart, like, if the Celtics lose this series, who's moving on? Do you think Jaylen Brown possibly going to the Rockets? Do you see something like that happening? Do you see Marcus Smart being moved? Because I think they should keep Derek White. Al Horford, I think they just keep, because he's like, why would you send him anywhere? Yeah. What do you think about that?
I don't reckon they'll get rid of Mark. I reckon they'll be pretty stupid getting rid of Marcus Smart. Jaylen Brown, I could possibly see leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah, to Houston or even the Knicks. I know the Knicks are high on him.
I mean, why wouldn't they be? He's a star.
The Knicks fans are high on him. Sorry, not the.
Yeah.
So
Knicks are high on Giannis too.
Yeah, well,
we'll get to that. No. We'll finish up on this because this series I just don't want to talk about it. It's, unless you've got anything else on it, it's just been a frustrating series.
I just think don't count them out. I don't think count Celtics out yet.
Oh, if anyone can do it, it's the Celtics, because Joel Embiid's usually cursed against the Celtics.
Did you watch Game 3 on Saturday? The one where I think Philly won that game as well.
I watched the one where they doubled Embiid with 20 seconds left when they were up 2 and gave a wide open 3 to James Harden.
Oh, the game on Monday.
It's like, why the fuck would you double Embiid? The worst thing that happens, Embiid gets a layup and it's a tie game and you have last possession. Why double Embiid and give a wide open 3 to a player that can shoot the 3 very well? It's like, I just don't understand what they were thinking. But yes, what result do you have here? Do you have Philly winning their next game at home, or do you think it's going 7?
I reckon if it was Boston playing at home next, I reckon I would go Boston in 7. But I think Philly are going to win. But I like I said, I wouldn't count them out. But yeah, I can sort of count them out.
I'm gonna just hope the Embiid curse against the Celtics comes back, and I'm gonna back the Celtics in to win the series, just because that's what my heart wants. My head obviously saying Philly, but we'll move on to the last series, a series I dare say you probably don't want to talk about. The Knicks.
I've just accepted it now.
The Knicks versus the Heat. Just give us your thoughts on it. Yeah, you've had a bit of time now to accept what's happened. Randall coming out post-game with some interesting comments, to say the least. What are your thoughts on the whole situation?
I just think we're just getting out-coached, and that's about it.
Out-coached?
I think the ISO play. I think the ISO play and the bench isn't stepping up, and I think you can sort of back Randall's statement. They do just want it more.
Yeah.
I feel like as a team leader, it's probably not the best thing to be
I was
saying,
about to
but
say that's probably something you don't want to hear
um,
your star player saying.
yeah, I mean that doesn't do numbers on the role players and stuff.
Mm,
But I mean, you've got Spolstra's got Obi Toppin shooting open threes,
yeah,
like, and because he knows that he's going to miss him every time,
yeah.
but it's leaving him on an island and giving him the Ben Simmons treatment, where if it goes in, it goes in. So,
And Coach Spo
um,
is unbelievable. So when you say he's out coaching Tibbs, obviously Tibbs has got a good history, but I think you've had a turbulent time with Tibbs, so we know where you stand with him. But like
I just don't think they're
yeah,
going anywhere further with it. I just don't think his brand of basketball is good enough for the modern game. You could say 10 years ago
mhm.
it would have worked and everything, but we just don't have the players to do it now. Like they don't have enough shoot. Like we have such a slasher centric team
And such a
where
shooting
it
coach.
yeah
He's not
and
shoot necessarily a shooting coach, but yeah.
yeah, it's ISO ball. That's it. But when you've got players that like RJ Barrett, who's not a lot, he's not a like um a 3-point shooter, but he can shoot it, just not at a high rate all the time. But I think, and then you got Randall, who's just the last two playoff series, and I think JJ Redick touched on it today, where you look at this series, he hasn't done well. The Atlanta series, he didn't do well. Even in the Cavs series,
Mm,
Randall didn't play well,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
worked.
I think it's time to
But
move on from Randall.
yeah,
And like I still think that if you change the team around and kept I like if you could get Nick Nurse, I would obviously go for Nick Nurse or for Budenholzer. I would. But let's say you can't get them to, and I know there's other coaches on the market. If you can't get them to, or Kenny Atkinson, obviously who's still only assistant coaching. I would keep Tibbs because if let's say you moved on for Randall and you got some pieces in. If you built a defensive team like you had, what was it, 2 or 3 years ago, when it was a similar team, but you were just a lot better defensively and were basically locked in defensively.
I th-
I
and
yeah.
I think that's when they wanted him more.
Mm,
And you could see with the rookies like Quickly and Top
yeah.
and like that's when they showed out a lot.
Yeah.
So I would like. I think they just don't have that mentality anymore. That's the
Yeah.
thing.
But if hypothetically, very massive hypothetically, if you've got Giannis, I'd be keeping Tibbs all day. I would keep I'll keep Tibbs. You get one. You've already got Mitchell Robertson hypothetically next to him, and you got Josh Hart, and you got Miles McBride and Quentin Grimes that can defend, and then Jalen Brunson, who's not a great defender, but like you can afford to have him not being able to defend because obviously what he can do on the offense. But while touching on that, as a Knicks supporter, what do you think you would have to give up for Giannis? Obviously, Windhorse said that there's a slight Knicks had a slight eye on Giannis this offseason or are going to. What do you think you would
Yeah,
have to give
it
up
was
to
like
get Giannis?
97% focused on Miami,
Three,
3%
yeah,
focused on. Like that's just fucking ridiculous. Why would you not be focusing? It looks like they've
yeah.
got no
Uh,
percent
yeah, I
on
was about to
Miami and then
say.
100% on fucking Cancun. So
What do you think though? What trade package do you think would have to give up?
uh it depends on who they want to build around, but I think you'd be better off building with RJ Barrett there
Whoa.
and Giannis. So I think you'd have to get rid of Randall.
You're still backing in Giannis. And sorry, not Giannis. You're still backing in Barrett.
Yeah,
Like
well, like I said, I think Barrett's got a lot more upside to him.
I still think he does.
He's improved a lot in the postseason. Postseason. Thank God.
In the off
Still getting that
season.
wrong 3 years later.
um,
um,
no, but I honestly think if you had any chance of getting Giannis, you would have to give up RJ Barrett. I think that would be the one that's like whether the Bucks want Randall, they probably would take him for salary cap or whatever the fuck they've got to do. But I think you would have personally, the trade package I think you would have to give up is Randall, Barrett, either Obi or Quickly, and then maybe a pick, maybe a second round pick.
I reckon you could give up Randall, Obi, Grimes, and picks.
It depends how many picks you're talking.
We've got
Obviously,
6
but
over the next 3 years. So we can afford to give him 5.
yeah. But then how much he's paying Barrett? Did you give him a big contract yet?
He's on pretty much the same as Brunson.
Okay.
I think
that's not too
Randall's on
bad.
about 150.
Yeah, you need to get him. He's max. He's on a max.
Yeah, and I think he has I think with incentives and that it can rise to like something like 204 million.
Yeah. We'll go closing statement though for the Knicks Heat series. It's been a pretty long podcast so far.
Oh, I got to give Jimmy Butler his flowers as well on this one.
Yeah, he's fucking.
He's shown that's what a leader looks like in the NBA.
And he's done it without Tyler Hero, which is disappointing obviously from a Knicks point of view. But like, I think, and obviously we've both had our dislikings with Jimmy Butler, but I think he's just kept becoming more likable the way he's playing. Like, he's not talking, he's not necessarily doing it through his talking or anything, but the way he plays on the court, he's just becoming more likable because he's just carrying his team so much.
He leaves it all out there.
And you can't dislike him, but it's like those points where he was at Minnesota and he was at Philly. Yeah. You didn't see this sort of thing. Whereas now you can appreciate what he's doing.
You saw it at I reckon you saw it at Minnesota and
a little bit
and Philly. Like he was on Embiid a lot at Philly. And like there was heaps of clips of like especially when he was mic'd up and that of him telling Embiid to shoot it more and all that stuff.
But
and
like he couldn't do it himself.
Yeah, and well, I mean, he had such a great team around him. He didn't really need to be doing it himself. They would just like Simmons, who was soft, and then Embiid at the time. Well, he's still soft now, but I mean,
just flopping around, flailing.
Yeah, but like at Chicago, like he played well.
Oh, I
also
loved him at Chicago. Well, we'll finish.
The thing
up.
is that like with the Knicks could have got him instead of Durant and Kyrie in that year, and they could have built around with RJ and Jimmy, and who knows what that would have turned into. I think that would have been something pretty nice.
Imagine Jimmy going at Randall though.
Oh, Randall, he would have already left.
Yeah, he would have asked for a trade fucking a week after.
If Randall's going to be a team leader, he needs to stop throwing his hands up and going off and all that stuff. He needs to set an example for the other players. Like the organizations put their trust in you, the teammates have put their trust in you. You need to act like a leader because you're just acting like a bitch.
So what do you think the Knicks lose tomorrow?
Yeah, I reckon they've already given up.
I agree.
And I accepted it after game 3.
I think they lose tomorrow, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say if they win tomorrow. Wait, is tomorrow in New York?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say it goes 7 games, but if game 6 is back in Miami, they're not going to win. So, I think they win tomorrow then, and then they lose game 6, which obviously is going to be disappointing.
If they lose tomorrow at home as well, they're going to cop shit.
Randall
they are going to get fucking slaughtered.
Randall won't talk to the media, but I wouldn't be surprised though if like Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart can somehow rein in the Knicks fans a little bit. Because I feel like they're just so, rightfully so as well, adored by the Knicks fans.
Yeah,
and
they're very likable.
Fans. Like, you can't hate Josh Hart. Like, I don't think you can. And obviously, Mavs fans probably dislike Brunson, but like, it's very hard to dislike Jalen Brunson.
A lot of Knicks fans don't like Hart and Barrett being on the court at the same time.
Yeah, I can see why that.
They like Grimes more because he can shoot, but I mean, you look at Grimes quickly, Obi as well. Like they've just not played well at all. Like I was thinking in this series, the way we're going to win it is bench points, and it's just not happened.
Just quickly, so we've finished up on that. Just before we go, all defensive team got released, first team and second team. Any surprises? I mean, Dylan Brooks is in the second team. You're probably
Oh,
dislike.
Giannis.
Yes, no Giannis.
All the players in the first team are currently not playing anymore this season.
I think all those players in the first team does Caruso. I mean, I'm glad Derek White got in there. I'm very surprised Nicholas Claxton didn't get in there.
Yeah.
I felt like he was in the depoy race for a good portion of the year. But I saw a tweet today saying, how is Anthony Davis not in there? And I'm just like, come on now. Like, yes, when he's healthy, he's one of the best defensive players in the league, but like, he's just not healthy enough of the season. Do you have any surprises on that?
I just think the no Giannis thing really.
Yeah. And what about Rookie of the Year? The rookie, sorry, not Rookie of the Year, all rookie team.
Did that get announced?
Yeah, J-Dub made all
Did
rookie
it?
first team.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah, so
How about
first
that?
team's Paolo, Kessler, J-Dub, Keegan Murray, and Benedict Mathurin. And the second team is
That's good. I like that. I like that
Yeah.
team. Maturin played it awesome this year.
Second team is Duran, Tari Eason, Jaden Ivey, Jabari Smith Jr., and Jeremy Sohan. I'm very surprised they got Rockets end up getting 2 players in that second team. I mean, Jabari
Well, I mean,
Smith,
when you're getting more minutes than most
I
rookies,
was
I
about to
feel
say,
like you
Jabari Smith Jr., he did come on a little bit towards the end of the season, but at the start, he fucking stunk it up. He was horrible.
I like Tyree Eason in there.
No, he's
I've been
not
high
as
on
good as
him
he
when
was.
when I was watching him at LSU. I've been high on him, so
Yeah.
I'm hoping he has another great year next year.
How about that though? So you look at it from just from a broad spectrum of things. You got Paolo first pick, you expected that. Then you got Kessler and J-Dub, 2 players that went outside the top 10. I think Kessler did. I know J-Dub
Yeah,
did.
Kessler didn't then because he got traded to
and
Utah.
Mathurin that went 6th or something, or 5th or 6th. The Pacers.
Yeah, I think
And then you got you've got the second pick in Jabari Smith Jr. in the second team, and you got Jaden Ivey in the second team. 2
Didn't Jabari
very
Smith go
high
number 1?
picks. No, he went 2.
No, because Chet went number 2.
Oh, sorry, 3. He went 3.
Who went number 1? Oh, Paolo.
Yeah,
Duh,
Paolo.
fucking dumbass, like.
Yeah. So
Did you see the thing with him at the F1 where he spoke to
Yeah.
that dude again and he recognized him?
That
was pretty funny.
Jalen Duran went top 10. Sohan went top 10.
Nick's legend.
I just find it interesting. I just find it kind of funny that OKC and obviously Walker Kessler outside of the top 10 finished in the first team. That was my hot take at the start of the year. So if I can find that clip, I'm going to cut it up and put it into a TikTok.
I think I said something like J-Dub's not even going to be making or rookie first thing.
So I'm going to clip that up and put it into a TikTok. So this went really quick, surprisingly. We're at like 50 minutes or something. Or no, we're at an hour.
We didn't even talk about AFL, but I mean, nothing really happened.
Yeah.
Except the Van Royen situation, but
dog shit. I don't know how he got 2 weeks.
I'm glad he got. I'm not like it's not good that he got suspended, but I feel like if the AFL are going to be protecting people's with their head knocks and everything, I feel like I feel like that sets an example that they are.
I can see it from that point of view, but if they're not consistent with
2 weeks is a bit stiff, I reckon. I feel like 1 week or maybe even a fine could have sufficed, but
you want them to be consistent with it now, though. You don't want them to go and a star player goes and does that, and like if that's 2 weeks, how the hell did Patrick Cripps get off his hit last year against Brisbane, where he literally concuss someone, and it went from 2 weeks to being cleared to play, and then he wins the Brownlow, and he doesn't win the Brownlow if that doesn't happen. So it's like, I just think that's obviously superstar treatment. But anyway, thanks for joining us, Sharpy.
Yeah, too easy.
And we'll see you same time next week. Thank you for listening on Spotify, YouTube. They're the only 2 that we're on for now. So, and we'll eventually set up our sign and our locker room podcast setup eventually, maybe.
Hopefully before I get back. I reckon he's have heaps of time before I get back to do it.
Yeah, just a couple months. All right, we'll see you next week. Bye.